6 to 8 minutes, I got you. Don't even worry about it. What's up, guys? Michael Simonetti here. Today I'll be giving you guys a TED Talk on childhood obesity. A lot of you know that childhood obesity is a problem in the U.S. especially, but I'm not sure if you guys are fully aware of just how big of a problem it is and how fast it's growing. Here I have a map for you guys, 4 maps. 1986, childhood obesity percentage per state, 1994, 2002, and 2009. You see here, light blue is about 10%, while the darkest of red is about 30%. 1986, you see a lot of light blue, a lot of white even. Jump to 2009, you see a lot of dark red, especially in these areas here. These areas that are poor. So that brings me into my causes. Main cause that many of you know, due to the fact that Mr. Rossi showed us a documentary, is poverty. If you are too poor to afford certain foods, then you are not going to buy those certain foods. Healthier foods are more expensive than processed, cheap, fatty foods. So chances are poor families, poor environments, poor communities are going to have less healthy foods. That brings me into my second cause, which is the environment. If your town endorses healthy living, then most likely you live healthier. Farmers market foods, organic, non-GMOs. But in order for your town to do so, or your city to do so, most of the time your community needs to be thriving, more thriving than the average. In the documentary that was shown, it was even shown that most of the supermarkets or corner shops didn't have any really healthy or organic or non-GMO foods. Another cause would be the advertising and labeling. This one kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but just to put it into perspective for you guys, if I'm a child who looks up to a certain athlete or a certain Olympian, and you have stars being endorsed by Subway, with RG3 or Justin Tucker, you have Olympians being endorsed by McDonald's, and I want to be like those certain Olympians or certain athletes, chances are I'm going to eat at the places that they are endorsed by. So labeling, companies are currently allowed to have a 20% margin error in their nutrition value facts. Now, margin of error, 20%, the reasoning behind it would be that in calculating your certain nutritions, you mess up, but a lot of big companies today use that 20% margin error as a way to mislead customers on, or consumers on what is actually in their products. Also, in America, you are not required to label whether or not your food or your product contains GMOs. GMOs are genetically modified organisms, and there's a lot to go over about GMOs. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum because I'm kind of short on time. But essentially what they are, they're certain chemicals, different chemicals used for different things. There's things like keeping insects away when you're growing crops, or helping your food last longer without going spoiled. So from a head of a company's standpoint, I want GMOs because it helps me make more money. From a consumer standpoint, I don't want to put these certain chemicals in my body. It's just a general, just a summary, basically, of GMOs from my perspective. Obviously, I have a little bias. So yeah, those are the main causes. Some of the effects of childhood obesity are pretty bad. Whether it's health issues, chances of heart attack, stroke, diabetes, these all increase. obviously as a child your chances of having a heart attack are pretty low, but when you're obese as a child and you grow older, the chances of you having a heart attack are higher than the average person who is not obese as a child. Your life expectancy is reduced depending on how bad your obesity was. But aside from the health issues, something that may be more permanent or more scarring would be, the social discrimination. There's no pun intended here, but when you are obese as a child, you become a bigger target for bullies to gang up on you. This leads to having serious self-esteem issues as a child and carrying on through your life, not having the confidence that one needs to strive and to succeed, essentially. A lot of times this leads to suicide, the worst case scenario, obviously, but it does happen, and this is really scarring for children, and it's a big issue in America. Some of the ethical concepts that I've incorporated in my TED Talk are, some Catholic social teachings, an option for the poor and the vulnerable. Essentially what this is, as Catholics, we are called to help the poor and help the vulnerable. Now, when this is first said, people immediately think of the poorest of the poor, the homeless, homeless shelters, things like that. But how I applied this to my capstone is that, that first cause being poverty. For us as Catholics, we need to help others be educated, help others budget well, help others really know how to eat healthier, really know how to prevent childhood obesity. And I think we fail to do that now. Also, children who are obese are vulnerable, and I think we need to provide a safe environment for them, which I believe we also fail to do today. Another ethical concept that I incorporate is the caring for God's creations. When someone is obese, they are not caring for their body, and their body is a creation of God. We must help them because a lot of them don't know what it is exactly that they're doing to themselves. They don't know how they got there, they don't know why they're there, they don't know how to prevent it, and they don't know how to get out. So for us, as Catholics, we must show them, the right way to eat, and things like that. Well, I'm running out of time, so that's all. I wish I had more time to present, but thank you guys for listening. It's been a blast.